Greetings, my Legionnaires. Kind of want to do something a little bit different here than what we normally do with reviews. Because Ghost Recon's kind of a special case, I kind of want to give you guys a review in progress, as it were. So this isn't a final review. You know, when I give it a score here at the end, it's not necessarily indicative of the full product, but I just kind of want to give you guys my feelings so far, having kind of a week or two with the game and playing through it the way we're doing it. I'm playing through with my buddies Joe and Drew from time to time. So it's kind of been, you know, we're kind of trying to line up schedules and make it work. But I want to give you guys a little taste of the gameplay as it were right now. We're kind of moving in here, taking out this little base. You can see Joe running up there on the train tracks. As you can see, I had my drone out there. I'm marking targets. And I'm kind of playing Overwatch. That's kind of the... See, I'm kind of dropping snipers and stuff like that. I'm trying to be as quiet as we possibly can. This is the strategy that I typically like to use if it's just two people. Kind of have one person on the ground, one person watching over top. But anyway, Joe and I are trying to capture or interrogate this individual, the kind of this leader of this camp, to get some more information on some of these big players in the cartel. Where some special forces units from the United States kind of moving in here to destabilize this drug cartel, this cocaine manufacturing business in Bolivia. And what you do is you kind of move around, get information on these people, hunt them down and eliminate them, and you kind of get rid of their production or their suppliers or their ability to ship this illegal, you know, contraband into the States or around the world. So right now what we're doing here is we're trying to kind of link up shots. You can see we've kind of marked them. It could allow us to simultaneously take these guys down. In Ghost Recon Future Soldier, what they would have you do is kind of have laser pointers on each person, so you really couldn't miss a shot. But this one, you definitely can. There's bullet drop and stuff to account for. I'm in night vision right now, but I switch over to thermal to try to get a better shot on this guy. These are all little upgrades you can pick up throughout the game. As you can see, I miss here, which really sucks. I hit that pole. I'm like, ugh. But don't give up. You know, he's about to spot me there, but he's gone. So, yeah, you just got to keep working. Adapt and overcome, as I always say. So what happens here is we're kind of stealthy for a long time here, but eventually, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, it says we are hunted now. So they either saw the body that I took out, or they saw Joe, or something happened. So now it kind of shifts. So now they know we're around. See, that guy's like, oh, whoa, what's going on? He's gone. There's a difference between being hunted and completely engaged. As you can see, now we are engaged. Like, that guy saw me and I dropped him, but there's still not a lot of them to worry about. Anyway, you kind of do this a lot. And one of my kind of gripes with the game is that it's kind of repetitive. You kind of go from base to base, and you take out these guys, and you kind of just spot them all, take them out, keep doing that. You don't have to kill all these people. I should remind people of that too. You can sneak in here and do all of this without worrying about taking them all out. It's just easier in the end to kill them all, but at the forefront, it can be a little tricky to sneak in. If one person spots you and they're in and amongst like 20 guys, that's problematic. So as you can see, Joe's going in right now. He's tagging some other barrels and things like that, other supplies, as you can you'll see very shortly here. And those supplies go in turn with your skill points. So when you gain a level, you get skill points, and you can purchase upgrades to your drones and stuff like that, your weapons and things. But you also need a corresponding resource to go with it. So for instance, I wanted C4 for a long time, but I didn't have enough tagged supplies for medicinal things or bandages and things like that, because you tag these supplies for the rebels you're working for. And I'll show that in a moment here, but I needed to go around and do all that before I could actually unlock C4, because C4 could be very advantageous. You can kind of plant it on propane tanks and stuff, and if it all goes badly, you can hit that switch and you can you can do it from a great distance away, so that's nice. As you can see, Joe's bringing him up here to interrogate him, and it's kind of cool just being able to see this happen. Just kind of me watching over him if anything goes bad. So now we're just trying to get some information out of this guy. So yeah, I don't know. The writing isn't the greatest in this game. I'll tell you guys that too. It's not necessarily superb. The four protagonists here, I couldn't really tell you their names. I don't really know what their motivations are besides just special forces guys. This is maybe how special forces guys would talk to each other, but they do kind of come off a little more bro-like, as it were, as as we like to say. Not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but not really compelling. Game kind of reminds me a little bit of Mercenaries. If you guys ever played that game back like a PS2 days, where you kind of were working around the demilitarized zone in North Korea trying to take down a deck of cards, as it were, of special targets, North Koreans, that you had to deal with. And that's kind of what this game is too. You kind of figure out about your target and then move in on them, take them out. As you can see here, I'm moving into the base, and you see this little these little green dots on the mini map. See, these are the medical supplies I was talking about. You tag these supplies for the rebels to come pick up later, and then you get like right there a plus 100 medication or whatever, which allows you to unlock various abilities. Still like using night vision even when it's the daytime if you go into a dark room, because you do shift a lot in color and look, and it can be hard to see in these rooms sometimes. Just another tactical advantage your person has. So, but because it is a co-op kind of multiplayer game, shenanigans do take place. That's another thing. If you're working with a buddy, you could try to do stuff like this. Like Joe, we didn't need to do this, but Joe's just going to try to pick me up in his helicopter, and yeah, it doesn't always go as planned, as you'll probably see here very shortly. But yeah, it's just there's a lot of freedom in what you can do. You can you can have people go anywhere on the map. You're not all linked. You don't always, or as far as you don't have to be on the same screen or even in the same, multiple mile area if you don't want to. So again, just Joe trying to kind of have fun here and try to pick me up here as opposed to just picking me up on the ground like a normal person. And he's kind of bouncing around, as you can see. So I just go and hop in somewhere else. But I kind of like that freedom. It's really nice to just be able to do that. It reminds me a lot of Grand Theft Auto 5 in the multiplayer, kind of just doing whatever you want and kind of figuring out what works and what doesn't, So, yeah, not a huge deal either way. Fun fact, you can get killed, I'm pretty sure, by these blades. I get really close to some of them. Do not get this close to the blades. I don't recommend it. But here you go. This is kind of just... We do this a lot. We call them, find a bird, a helicopter plane or whatever, and just kind of move to the next destination, because Bolivia is huge. As you can see here, it's a massive open world, and a lot of your objectives will take place kilometers upon kilometers away from one another. So it's really essential that you either find helicopters or vehicles that can take you there pretty efficiently, or unlock fast travel points. Now you can see Joe and I are moving up here to this kind of, there's like this little blue gun icon. To unlock accessories and stuff for your guns, you have to go and find them. You don't just buy them like you would normally in other games. I have no idea why the U.S. government decided that this is the best way to do it, but whatever. They didn't want to give you everything. They're working on the cheap. So right there, I put out a UAV, but it hit the helicopter blades, and that's just some of the stuff that can happen in this game. It's kind of pseudo-realistic in that way, but yeah. So now we're trying to move in and take out these guys so we can get this accessory. You're going to see me pull up a wheel here. On the top part of the wheel, that's how you would use to kind of tell your team what to do or what you want. But I actually use some rebel support here, and I call in some mortars, because that's what you can do too after you get the rebels' favor and pick up some things. So you can see here, mortars came in, dropped a few guys. I'm just using my pistol, just because I like my pistol. Feels good. And see, here Joe goes down. But because it is an open world game, glitches do happen. So technically right now, Joe is on the ground. He can't move, even though it looks like he's standing up. He's like Stretch Armstrong or Mr. Fantastic here. I have absolutely no idea what's going on. It's very weird. I kind of want to show you guys this. A few things like this have happened in this game for us, where people glitch out or it gets very strange. Just these kind of comical moments that you find in most open world games. So this is just one classic example of it. Or Joe's got a bunch of superpowers that he hasn't told me about, which that doesn't seem very nice. Here you can find some intel. It'll kind of give you some more markers on the map. It's very, Ubisoft kind of, almost Radio Tower-esque, where it's like, oh, go find all these things. So I try to revive Joe. Again, it's weirdly, he's down, but I tried to get this guy and intimidate him now. So Joe's still on the ground, technically.
You smell that way? That mix of gun smoke, shit, and blood that's hanging in the air? That's Santa Muerte creeping.
Yeah, see?
Your cartel made a deal with
really nice things to say. So basically what you do a lot of the time is you intimidate these people to get information and just move on to the next person. So it's just very much go here, collect this, intimidate that guy, do the same thing again and again. So if you don't like this type of thing, if you don't like this kind of open world point-to-point, then it might not be for you. As you can see there, I tried to execute him, but I just want to see if he was still glitching out, and he definitely is. Another thing that you can kind of do in this game, we're talking about these accessories, and this, I wasn't used to this in this game, kind of having this ability to interact with the buildings here. You'll see that I actually have to kick down the door. I kept looking for the door, because usually there's a way in that's really easy, but for this, not so much. You just gotta go in there, kick that door down, and this is like a little church, I think, and you find a weapon case here. kind of weird. Yeah, that's just how this game is. So there you can see we have a new sniper rifle scope, and then a bunch of other stuff we can tag here for the rebels, so they can use it, and it will allow us to gain access to other abilities or items and things like that, which is nice. So it does get a little tedious kind of going around and like collecting all those little things. It makes sense in the story and the context of the game, which is nice, but beyond that, it becomes an exercise in tedium. Here you can kind of see the map of the world. It's huge, as you can see, very Ubisoft. You pull back and all this stuff. You see all the people there you have to take down and the main guy. But there's so many little things to pick up and do. So lots of stuff that you can, spend your time on. But here we get into more of the Gunsmith stuff, which is kind of put on the back burner, unfortunately. But it's still really cool. You can kind of take your gun apart, check out some new scopes and things like that. You can customize it as long as you have the parts, so you could, take a sniper rifle and give it a shorter barrel or a longer barrel or stuff like that, and change how its firing rate for other guns, like if you want it to be automatic, semi-automatic, and burst fire and things like that, magazines, folding stocks, all that stuff. So as you can see there, it kind of changes the percentages, or I should say the stats of the weapons. So that's my sniper rifle I was using. This is my little assault rifle I like to use. I typically like to go with a smaller tactical weapon for those types of kind of incursions. I always like to have a silencer in these games, even if my range or damage goes down a little bit. That's just a personal flavor. But you can paint these things. You can really change them up as long as you get access to all those things. Unlike Future Soldier, where you do get these things over time. It seems to come a little bit quicker in Future Soldier. In this game, you really have to hunt down every little item and find it. Here you can see kind of the skill tree. I've got like 22 points here. And you can see all these things that I have potentially available. So you can kind of go over and check out and say like, hey, if I wanted to pick up one of these things, I have the skill points for them, but do I have the corresponding thing? So like for these, you can kind of see on the bottom right-hand corner, it's like, oh, I need like 300 food for ammo capacity to up that. And 2 skill points, which I did have, and there you go. So I just kind of leveled up a new ability right there. But yeah, that's kind of how the skill tree works. It's a little weird, it's a little annoying, but it makes sense. So yeah, as you can see here, we have our next thing. That's some information over there. That's 3 kilometers away. So you really gotta want to get over there. It's gonna take a little bit. But yeah, this is kind of just a show of the open world. So. Yeah, that's Ghost Recon Wildlands so far. I think it's a pretty fun game. I think you would only want to pick it up, though, if you were really, really into this kind of tactical third-person shooter. That can go into first-person view. I just don't prefer it. But it's so much better with friends. You can do it with the AI. They're okay. You just have to manage them really well. But besides that, I probably wouldn't recommend picking it up unless you're really, really, really a huge Tom Clancy Ghost Recon fan. So. Yeah, guys, I think that's going to do it for me for now. Hopefully we'll have a chance to review this game. It's just been kind of busy here over Critical Reviews. A lot of things have been happening. So I just want to give this out and just kind of show some stuff off. Oh, and here you can also customize your character. I want to mention this too. This is one kind of fun fact. They give you a lot of customizing or customizable options as far as look go from the very beginning here. So you can see my guy is basically a Deathstroke wannabe. Give him like gray hair and a scar and stuff. And he's a super creep. Yeah, you can kind of change all the stuff, all the colors, the backpack, the vest, the boots, the pants, the gloves, the balaclavas, the eye patches, all that stuff. You can get kind of crazy with it if you want to. So that's just a nice little touch. They don't really hide all of that behind a bunch of things you have to unlock. Some of the other stuff you can get later on, like special outfits and things, you have to unlock. But a lot of these things are just, yep, here it is. Here you go. Check it out. So yeah, right now it's probably for me sitting at like a 7 out of 10, probably like an 8 maybe with friends. It can be a lot of fun, but it is very, very repetitive. It just kind of move to base and take stuff out, take stuff down. So yeah, there you go, guys. There's my little review in progress. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's a little bit something different than we normally do here, but I appreciate you guys stopping by all the same. And to those who have returned, from other times and are, part of the Legion already, thank you so much. If you're new here, if you want to join us, all you have to do is just click the subscribe button, and you can join our ranks. We welcome you with open arms. If you want to help spread the word, you can share this review or this kind of channel with a friend, and that's the best thing you can do for us. Just really appreciate it. We'll probably talk more about this on our weekly podcast, the Critical Podcast, next week and the following weeks, just as we kind of progress through the game. It's going to take a while, but that's okay. It's just kind of a fun time, just kind of quiet, just kind of usually turn off your brain when you're moving from place to place. But it's it's enjoyable. Another thing to keep in mind, comparing it to other open world games like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Horizon Zero Dawn, is that there's a lot of open space with nothing in it. So if that's something that bothers you, then you won't like this, because there's like a lot of just like barren, as you can see, fields and open lands and all that stuff. So just keep that in mind. So like I said, probably a 7 out of 10 if you're by yourself, and probably an 8 or so with friends. But even with one friend, it's a lot more fun. Just keep that in mind. I probably wouldn't recommend it if you weren't a huge Tom Clancy fan or this kind of third-person tactical shooter. And I'd also recommend bumping up the difficulty, because you want it to be tough. You want this to be hard, because if it wasn't, it wouldn't really be as thrilling, I don't think. So yes, thank you guys so much. I hope you had a great time. Just remember to adapt and overcome. I'll see you next time.